Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are back with a brand new PNSO release. Yes, the Lokiceratops is officially here. Crazy that we already have a figure of this species, as it was only fairly recently even discovered, but it does look really cool. I think, as always, PNSO has done a very good job on this. It's also been a little while since we had a PNSO ceratopsian, so I'm excited that they've actually chosen this species specifically to give us not only our first figure of it, but also again, just another PNSO ceratopsian is really fun. But you can see box art wise, it's pretty much like you usually see. Again, nice images of the figure through the course of the box, the PNSO logo, all of your standard usual information. So let's pop the box open and check it out. So of course, included within is the booklet, which you can see. Again, it's usual type of stuff that we get with PNSO releases. You always have really cool images and everything in here, and just in general, look at this, like you've got some really cool images of even other ceratopsians that PNSO should definitely release in their line. But again, you'll find all kinds of really cool images, all kinds of really cool information as you move through the booklet. I highly recommend checking this out. Of course, we're not going to go through the entire thing right now, but if you do grab this, I definitely recommend giving it a read. And then we've also got our poster, which I'm intrigued to see if it's a little dino toy photography, which yes, it absolutely is. So as you can see, it's basically a nice shot of the figure itself walking along some sort of a plane heading down for a drink of water, and it looks really cool. Actually, definitely would be a wonderful piece to put in the background of your display of this figure. I think that looks absolutely fantastic. And then our Lokiceratops itself, of course, and look at how nice that looks. Man, PNSO always does such a good job on their figures, but look at the frill. Those colors just honestly pop so nicely up there on the frill. And past that point, again, in general, I think it looks really good, really realistic as far as the actual paint application goes. Definitely another winner from PNSO, no doubt about that. So let's jump to a closer look and we'll check it out from there. So starting up here at the head sculpt of the Lokiceratops, you can see, as always, the skin detail looks phenomenal. When it comes to fine detail, very few companies, if any at all, can touch PNSO when it comes to just how impressive the skin texture and fine detail of their figures are. You can see a lot of variation to the scales, like you've got larger scales here, finer scales as you move up closer to the nostrils. Lots of nice variation of color here with some nice browns, and you've got like some dark browns, lighter browns, and you even have some like almost greenish tones as you move back here. On top of everything, there seems to be a nice dark wash applied to this figure, which helps all of that detail to pop quite beautifully. You can also see the eyes are painted really nicely, and I also love the overall appearance of the eyes. It almost looks like the dinosaur is kind of slightly closing the eye over here on this side. I don't know, it just seems more realistic with the way that the eye area is sculpted out. And you can see the eyes are painted with an orange, given a black pupil, and have a really nice gloss coat. The beak is also nicely sculpted, also has a little variation of color with some different shades of browns. We can see the nostrils sculpted right there. The mouth is sculpted in an open position, which we can see a pinkish tone for the inside of the mouth. We've got a nice shot of the tongue there, as well as the teeth. The teeth are painted as well, and you can see the inside of the mouth on the upper side also has that nice pinkish tone, as well as, again, the teeth painted, which is really impressive, especially considering how small they are, and again, the fact that there is just no sloppiness when it comes to the paintwork in there. Just a little hard to get inside the mouth to see them. But again, moving up, you can see the horns are sculpted really nicely and painted nicely. I'm actually a big fan of that variation of brown that they've used, and it smoothly transitions to a dark brown there for the tips, which also looks really cool. Moving up into the frill, you can see some nice lighter tones in the kind of center areas here of the frill, and you can also see a nice mixture of blues and oranges here that just have a really cool pattern and definitely make that area stand out, but definitely make that area pop, no doubt about that. And then as you lead up even higher, you can see again more horns of our dinosaur up here. You can see again that they also feature that same type of coloration that we saw on the other horns, again, as well as the detail looking absolutely incredible up here. Like, man, oh man, PNSO's detail and paint jobs are so unreal. As you move back into the neck, you start to see this really cool kind of like bluish tone pick up for the primary body color. You also have a lot of patterning moving through with some darker browns. You can see the skin wrinkles here, especially on this side because the dinosaur is turning its head toward its left, so it would definitely be wrinkling that skin up, and the dark wash they've applied definitely helps to, amplify those skin wrinkles nicely. And we can see as we move down to the underside, we do get an alternate tone of color on the underside of our ceratopsian. You can even see like some slight variation of like some slight almost yellowish browns moving along there. I don't know how good they're picking up on camera, but in person I can definitely see them. And we can really see how good of a job that dark wash is doing as far as highlighting the impressive scale detail right there. But as you move down through the front leg, you can see this leg is kind of stretching out, sort of stretching the skin right there. You can kind of make out the muscle definition as well as more of that patterning moving down into the front leg. As you lead down, we do transition to a darker tone for the feet, and you can see the nails are painted with a variation of a brown. We also have some nicely sculpted toes, some nice kind of skin wrinkles there in the wrist, and again the scale detail continues to look absolutely gorgeous through the figure. As you move up, you can see the detailing of the stomach looks really good. You have some lighter tones that show up in a few areas, like you can kind of see that lighter tone here in the neck. You also see it here in the stomach, and you can even see it on the back of the leg here, the rear leg moving into the tail. So a little bit of subtle variation of color, which honestly goes a long way when it comes to the overall beauty of this figure. And as you move up, you can see the shoulder blade. You can also continue to see how good the scales look. Honestly, they are absolutely gorgeous. And there are some osteoderms poking up here and there. We have that patterning moving all the way up here into the back of the dinosaur. We can obviously see the spinal column following along the back of the dinosaur, as well as that nice big hip bone as we lead back. We've got a massive thigh with more of that patterning moving through. Again, really smooth transitioning between colors back into that area. And again, that dark wash is applied with absolute perfection. As we lead down, we've got a nice big bulging calf muscle. You can see the knee in the front of the leg, and again the foot lifting up off of the ground as the dinosaur is taking a step. And then leading up into the tail, you can see the nice curvatures to the tail leading out. They look really good. That kind of bluish tone for the body is so nice to look at. It is just a really, really appealing variation of a blue. And again, that dark wash just makes the detail pop so nicely. And then leading along the underside, you can see the cloaca and everything, as well as a little variation of color with more of that variation of like a brown around the cloaca. And again, the nice scale detail here for the underside, more of that variation of brown running along the side of the stomach right here as you lead down into the underside of our Lokiceratops. And then if you take a look at the opposing side, you can see the head sculpt looks pretty much the same. Obviously, you're not going to see much of a difference from one side to the other. The eye as well looks really, really good. And then when you lead back, you can see how the neck is now turning away from us. We can also see the ear a little bit better, I think, over here, now that it's kind of stretching away from us. But the skin definitely has a whole lot less creasing on this side and a whole lot more stretching, and you can even see like tensing to the neck as the dinosaur kind of turns its head away from us. Moving back into the body, you can see a very big difference when it comes to the positioning of the limbs. Obviously, the dinosaur is walking along. You can see that with this front leg lifting up off of the ground. We can also see a nice smooth transition to that lighter tone moving along the back of that leg, and again back up into the stomach where it does lighten for a little bit there. The patterning is also perfectly applied, like it is really smooth and naturalistic. And then as we lead back, you can see how this foot is planted currently as the dinosaur is walking along, and again the same type of coloring, patterning, everything else as you lead the entire way through the tails. So wow, that is an absolutely gorgeous Lokiceratops, and maybe honestly one of the best ceratopsians to come from PNSO so far. As far as a size comparison goes, for a length you are looking at about almost 7 inches on the dot, or around the 17.5 centimeter mark, and then for a height, just a hair under 4 inches, or again a hair under 10 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, Robert Muldoon, and the Collect Day human being next to our PNSO Lokiceratops. And as you can see, it's got a pretty nice size to it, but it's not massive by any means. Unfortunately, I don't have any other Lokiceratops at all in my collection to compare with this, so we'll just use a few random ceratopsians. First of all, we've got the Schleich which you can very clearly see is a bit smaller. Then we'll just bring in a few PNSO ceratopsians here next to our Lokiceratops, which you can see again are all kind of similarly sized to the Lokiceratops, with only a little bit more body mass, I think, on the Lokiceratops. Then we're doing the same with some How Long Good Ceratopsians, which again you can see are both a bit smaller than our Lokiceratops. And then finally the same thing with some PNSO Ceratopsians, so I think at this point you should have a pretty good idea of the size of this brand new PNSO release. So this brand new PNSO Lokiceratops is gorgeous, no doubt about that. Definitely happy to see this species in figure form already, surprised for sure, but definitely happy to see it. And again, sculpt-wise, it is fantastic. It's going to be pretty tough for anybody that does decide to make one of these to kind of outdo this one. I feel like this is about as high quality as you're probably going to find, even if somebody else does make one. Sculpt-wise, again, really nicely done, very nice fine detail, gorgeous, very vibrant scale detail, all of the, small details you would want to see, like skin wrinkles and folds and stretching and everything like that. So sculpt-wise, it's great. The pose is also nicely done. Almost looks like maybe it's just coming down for a drink or a bite to eat, or maybe in the midst of a confrontation. I don't really know, but it is nicely done as far as the overall sculpt and pose goes. The paintwork is also awesome. Like, I love the tones of color on this, and as always, PNSO delivers a museum-worthy paint job on every single figure they release. No difference here. The paint job is absolutely fantastic from head to tail. There's so much variation of color, really smooth transitions, nice naturalistic patterning. Everything on this paint-wise is honestly on another level, and it's also a very nice convenient size. So without a doubt, this is a must-have if you ask me. If you did not purchase this yet, I definitely recommend grabbing it because it is without a doubt worth a spot in every prehistoric collection. So make sure you head on over to grab this through the links that I will include in the description and purchase it on either Amazon or Aliexpress from the PNSO stores. And of course, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.